बहुत उम्दा गोल यहाँ पे P3 यूनाइटेड, एक और गोल P3 यूनाइटेड की तरफ से देखने को मिला और स्कोर हुआ है 4-1। P3 नाउ लीडिंग द गेम विद 4 गोल्स। अभी तक सारे गोल P3 के जो हैं वो हमें देखने को मिले, बहुत ही अच्छी कोऑर्डिनेशन रही है उनमें और बहुत अच्छा टीम प्ले और बहुत पासेस के साथ गेम को कनेक्ट करते हुए, और एंड पे दे जस्ट लीव अ सिंपल टैप इन फॉर द स्ट्राइकर्स, एंड आई डू थिंक इट इज द ब्यूटी ऑफ द फुटबॉल, एंड आई डू थिंक इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट नाउ। और शैम्पूस की तरफ से शूट और बॉल प्ले से बाहर। नाउ P3 will start the game from the goal kick. बहुत उम्दा पास यहाँ पे, बहुत ही उम्दा पास, और थोड़ा सा यहाँ पे शैम्पू एफसी ट्रैक बैक करते हुए नहीं नजर आ रहे हमें, बिकॉज आई कैन सी देयर 1 2 3 प्लेयर्स इन, क्या 1 2 3, yeah, there almost 3 players in the front lines, or it's really hard to defend with the two persons on the behind line and one with the in the center. So you in 7v7 you have to track back all of your team, at least your midfielders and your defenders already in the position, so you should be like 5 people in the back line. Leave just one the striker for the counter attack. That's what I do think. So you have to play in 5v5, sorry, 7v7. Now, talking about the strategy, I think Inter Milan played with very wonderful strategy in the last season. Even though they didn't win the league, Napoli took them. But the strategy that Inter make was very rare, because if you see the game, if you watch the game very closely, you will see that their midfielders, they play the game as defenders, and their defenders, they play the game with as midfielders or even as wingers. I mean, DeMarco is very wonderful. Nowadays, DeMarco is one of the top wing backs in my point of view. DeMarco, and Inter also has a very wonderful team. But unlucky them, Paris washed them in Champions League final. And I still remember them 5-0 in Champions League final. It's very humiliating. Know that you lose 5-0 in a Champions League final. Before that, so talking about the squads of, I was talking about the Inter. I mean, they played a very good side. I mean, their Jens Sommer, I do think arguably one of the very best keepers at the moment. And then they had I guess it was Bastoni and Pavard on the wingbacks. Bastoni and Pavard's on the wingback, and Asrabi in the center. So coming back to the point, sorry, I guess we had some sound issue here. So coming back, I was telling you guys about the Paris Saint-Germain versus Inter, that very solid and low blocking play style of Inter Milan, and still washed by Paris Saint-Germain. P3 United still on the lead. So talking about Paris Saint-Germain versus Inter. Paris Saint-Germain has very attacking football. They had Kvaratskhelia, they had Dembele, Desire Doué, Fabian Ruiz, and Vitinha, João Neves, Nuno Mendes, these kind of players. And I guess Pacho was also in the center. P3 की तरफ से यहाँ पे एक और गोल देखने को मिला है. 6वां गोल यहाँ पे P3 ने किया है. और शैम्पूज एफसी जो है वो 5 गोल की लीड खा चुके हैं. So talking about the 5 goals, I was telling you about the Inter Milan versus Paris Saint-Germain's that final, Champions League final. And I was talking that PSG had so much attacking side in that match. I mean, if you look at their attack, they had Dembele, Doué, and Kvaratskhelia, one of the top wingers in the world. At the moment, Kvaratskhelia, I would say that he's one of the top wingers at the world. And Doué as well. And then their midfield, what a creative midfield that Paris Saint-Germain has nowadays. Fabian Ruiz, Vitinha, and João Neves. And with the wonderful defense, Hakimi and Mendes. If you see the Hakimi and Mendes playing style, there would be overlapping Fabian Ruiz and João Neves and supporting Kvaratskhelia and Doué in the attack and in the crosses. And Dembele is no doubt sensational these days. And then Pacho and Marquinhos, and alongside with Donnarumma. That is a very attacking side. And on the other side, if you see Inter, they have Thuram and Martinez as strikers. The Inter plays at 5 mid, 5-3-2 style. And their midfield was so well now, like DeMarco, Dumfries, Barella, and I guess there were 2 more midfielders. I don't remember their name. I guess one was Changolu, and there was one more. I guess I'm a little bit weak in the memory. But Yenso, we're talking about the Yenso, all these players, if you see Dumfries and Barella and Chengolu and DeMarco, if you're gonna see Dumfries and DeMarco on the wings, and Martinez and Thuram, they're gonna close the play. So they play with this much strategy, and they were technically very low block defense, but still Paris Saint-Germain washed them, and that was very wonderful. One of the most, I say, one-sided finals in the Champions League I've ever seen. Because in previously we have seen Madrid versus Dortmund. Madrid won that with 2-0, scoring both in almost dying minutes. Then before that we see Manchester City versus City versus Inter, and City win 1-0. Rodri scoring, and before that we see City Madrid. Who beat Madrid? Beat, I guess, I don't remember who Madrid beat in before that in 2021-22 in the finals. Yeah, they beat Liverpool, I guess. Vinicius scored in the final. And before that, Chelsea beat City. All these matches, they were 1-0 or 2-0. There was not even a game. A beautiful shoot taken. So this year Champions League, they also changed the format a little bit, and in the starting stage, it doesn't seem that PSG will make it even in the round of 16 or round of 8. But then they just, I don't know where they get these superpowers. It was either from their coach, and they start washing teams. Now Shampoo loses the possession. Match is almost in its dying moments, and an impossible lead for Shampoo to cover. 5 goals cannot be covered in 2 or I guess 4 or 3 or 4 minutes left, possibly, in this game. It is the third match of today, and third match is almost toward its end. Now, shoot again. It's very good actually strategy. You should have almost 2 players in the team in 7v7 who can shoot and who have wonderful shoot. I mean, who have shoot like Rodri or Valverde, players like this. I mean, in 7v7 you should have someone who is just obsessed with taking shots. I mean, just crossing the midline. If he sees the ball, he's gonna shoot. You should have someone like this. Modern day, I can see Valverde or Bellingham is also good at shooting, but Valverde is, we all know, he's something else. And in Bayern we have Kimmich. Oh, that was a very rough tackle, and it's not called a foul. It's called a foul, and the game will be starting from a free kick. So, talking about the players who can shoot very well in Bayern, Goretzka can also shoot very well, and Pavlovic also has a very good shoot. But we see in the last season Goretzka was played as second midfielder alongside with Leama and Kimmich. By the way, Kimmich is also very good at shooting. And match ends here. And P3 United has a wonderful victory of 5 goals over Shampoo FC. See you in the next game.